Hello, today I'm going to talk to you about the lesson plan project that I completed for this class. The unit that I chose to teach was a team handball unit. I taught this to my 6th, 7th, and 8th grade PE students. Within my unit, I was able to cover a couple of the Georgia Standards of Excellence for Physical Education that you can see here on the screen. I was able to also incorporate 3 of the NET-S ISTE standards within my unit project as well. Just a little overview. The team handball unit is one that we teach each semester to the PE classes. As far as implementing the unit, we start out with a series of mini lessons that covers the rules and techniques and strategies. We engage the students in discussions and provide demonstrations of the skills. And then we move into a series of guided games that we kind of keep our thumb on the students and reinforce when they're doing things right and kind of correct any misconceptions as they go through the game. And then we progress to allowing the students to play more student-driven games where they're able to coach themselves and all that with minimal input from the teachers. So that's the steps for the implementation. Now, throughout each of the mini lessons and guided lessons, I provided the students with 3 technological tools that they could use. I used a QR code generator, I used a series of podcasts, and I used the Metaverse program to create some checks for understanding. So we'll take a look at those real quick. The QR code generator, this is one I found. It's a quick and easy one to use. It allows you to, if you find a website, like in this case I found one on handball rules, you just copy the URL, you paste it into the box down here, and then you create the Save As button down here, and what you'll get is you get a QR code. I printed off several of these and placed them around the gym, and students were able to use their technological devices to scan the QR code, and it would bring up the website where they could review the rules as needed. I also provided a handball video that showed clips of actual matches and showed clips of the various techniques that students would need for the game. So this was seemed to get a good response from the students with this. Allowed them to again to be able to reinforce what was taught to them in class at their own pace. The next thing that I chose was podcasts from iTunes. I found one called Team Handball News, and each episode they interview former athletes, current athletes, coaches. They talk about a wide range of topics from players' viewpoints, the history of the game, techniques, strategies. They recap games, so provide students with a wealth of information on the history and all of the game that we generally do not cover in class. But this is one I provided to students on an as-needed basis. They could go and listen to it on their own. So the students, I got a little bit of feedback on that. They seem to enjoy most of the podcasts there. The third technological tool that I used was the Metaverse program. And you can see here, I created a quick 5-question check for understanding that the students would scan the code that was generated by this program, and it would bring up this interactive little quiz that quizzed them on the basic rules and strategies. Again, just reinforcing what was taught, giving them a different viewpoint and a different way that they could interact with the information than we normally would in class there. So the students really seem to enjoy those checks for understanding. Just some of the challenges that I faced with this unit. Again, the biggest one with being in PE is just how to incorporate technology in a meaningful way. I think through this process I have learned some ways that students can use their devices on their own, or setting aside specific moments in time during the class that they can go and access the information. My class sizes presented a challenge because my classes average about 35 or more students, and then the motivating students. But I can tell you that through this process I can see some ways where I could provide students with ways where they could maybe create videos or blogs that demonstrate their understanding of the skills or concepts without having to do so in front of the class. So I'm excited about the opportunities in the future as well. And like I mentioned, the students seem to enjoy using the various technologies within the class. They were able to reinforce concepts being taught through the different resources. They could access these on their own. They could access them at home. So again, it's just continual reinforcement of what's being taught. The big thing that I'm looking towards is moving more to a flipped classroom model where the students view instructional videos and presentations and all online over the main rules and strategies, and then that'll allow us in class to spend more time actually engaged in drills and games that will reinforce what they've learned. So that is something I'm looking forward to in the future. I definitely would like to use this lesson again. A few changes I would make is I would work to find more resources to use different forms of technology. I would like to provide the student more choices, as I mentioned before, maybe having them create their own videos or their own instructional videos and teaching it to the class. And then, again, as I mentioned, working more to a flipped classroom look. I think that would benefit the students and, again, make it my classes a little more meaningful. But again, I enjoyed this project, and I look forward to using it again in the future and adapting it to my other lessons. Thank you very much.